Hi, boys and girls. Today we're starting a new chapter. We're almost to the end of the week. So in science, chapter 6, because we're so close to the end of the school year, we're not going to be able to make it all the way through this chapter, but I think it's pretty cool. So I'd really love to take a look at it. Um, so let's see here. What makes up the earth? Let's find out. So how can learning about the earth help us live safely? You have been learning that each living thing needs a place to live. Living things live in places all over the earth. On the first day of creation, God created the earth. He covered it with water. Then God caused dry land to appear. He made the earth with both land and seas. Sadly, because of sin, sometimes the earth can be a dangerous place. Learning about the land and the sea can help us live safely and keep others safe. That was page 87 in your science books. Let's go ahead and turn to page 88. The surface of the earth. The surface of the earth is everything that we can see. We live on a layer called the crust. And on that crust, we have land, which is about 29% of the surface, and then water, which is 71% of the surface. So there's far more water on this planet than there is land. So we have a map here. It shows us the oceans and the continents. Here again, we've been learning about continents in social studies, like heritage studies. We know about North America. We know the different continents. There's Europe over there. And then, of course, the Atlantic Ocean. I see the Pacific Ocean, and then Antarctica all the way down at the bottom of the earth. All right, so water, 71% of our surface on the earth is covered in water. That's nearly 3/4. That's a lot. Most of the earth is covered with water. Look at the graph, which is this little circle here. It looks like a pie chart. And then we also have a map here. You can see that about 3/4 of the earth is water. The large bodies of salt water are called oceans, but we also have fresh water too, like lakes and streams. There are four main oceans here on Earth. They are the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and Indian Ocean, as well as the Arctic Ocean. Some smaller bodies of salt water are called seas or gulfs. Here in America, just to the west of us, in Florida, we have the Gulf of Mexico. It's kind of an area of salt water that's kind of almost enclosed. You can see it's kind of got Mexico on one side, it's got the United States on the other, but it's still open. Many living things find their homes in salt water, like whales and shrimp, seaweed, just some of the items that live in salt water. Last week, when we read about tide pools, we also learned about the little critters that live in the tide pools. So we have many living things. Fresh water is also found in the rain and on land. They include like lakes, ponds, rivers, and streams. People depend on these sources of clean, fresh water to drink. Plants and animals living on the land also need clean, fresh water. So again, how much of the earth is covered in water? Do you remember? 71%. That's nearly 3/4 of the planet. That's a lot. So now about land. Water is not the only thing that covers the earth's surface. There is also land. Large areas of land are called continents. There are 7 continents. We have Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America. Some continents are connected and others are not. Australia is a large island. It is completely surrounded by water and it's not connected to any of the other continents. Antarctica is not connected to the other areas of land either. It is covered with ice and snow. All of the land does not look the same. Remember about landforms that we learned? We learned about mountains, canyons, and plains. Some are covered with grass or trees, and other places are mostly rock and sand. Each place is home to animals and plants, and quite often people. So here at the bottom, you can see how the Earth is divided. If I were to take the hemisphere, the big circle like a ball, and divide it in half, I would have a hemisphere. So I would have two halves of the ball. We have the Western Hemisphere, which is where we live here in America, and we have the Eastern Hemisphere, which is on the other side of the planet. On page 91 in your science books, we have some examples. A beautiful picture of the mountains with a valley and a lake in the Alps of Switzerland. That's a mountain range over in Europe. We also have a picture here of something called Tiger Leaping Gorge along the Yangtze River in China. That's in Asia. And then down at the bottom, we have the Serengeti Plain of Tanzania, Africa. So that's a large plain, and that's again in Africa. So what are the large areas of land on the Earth's surface called? If you said continents, good job. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. All right, what I'd like you to do is take a look at page 76 in your science activity book. Here, you're given a word bank at the top of the page, and you need to choose the word that would best complete the sentence. They're number 1, 2, 3, and 4. But it looks like number 2, you need 2 words. So you need to remember, go back into your pages and see if you can find that. It's going to be page 88 to 91 where you can find those answers. Down at the bottom, we have some pictures here, A, B, and C. It's asking you to name or match the word with the picture that you see. The letter is found on the landform it wants you to name. So you have continent, island, or ocean. On page 77 for Friday, we have a bit of a study guide. There again, at the top of the page is a word bank. You're going to fill the blank with a word that best completes the sentence. In the middle of that page, you're going to write true or false. And then write, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If it's true, go ahead and write a T. If it's false, write the correction for the underlined word. So for example, let's take a look at number 7, just to give you an example. Large bodies of fresh water are called ocean. Do oceans have fresh water or salt water? If you said salt, you're correct. So that's actually false. It doesn't have fresh water. So on the line there in front of number 7, you need to write salt because that would be the correct one. Then on page 77 in your activity book, at the bottom, we have the different layers of Earth. And that can be found on page 92, 93, 94, and 95. So we have different layers of the Earth. It wants you to label those layers of the Earth. And remember, when I said at the beginning of the video, we live on the Earth's crust. It's actually the thinnest layer of the Earth. And underneath it, underneath this crust that we can see, is the mantle. And in the very center of the Earth is our core. So that can be found on page 95. I'd like you to, today you're going to read pages 88 to 91. And then for Friday, you're going to read pages 92 to 95 and explore what is inside of our Earth. The words that you're going to want to learn for this week are crust, mantle, and core. And you can see that the 3 main layers of our planet. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have fun. I love learning about this stuff in science, so we'll talk to you soon, all right? Bye.